Hello and welcome to This Week in Rebel Athletics, brought to you by PHTV Sports. This is Dylan Hunt along with John Kaywood, and we're going to talk about some things going on in the week ahead here and go ahead and recap some of the things that happened last week. We had some exciting games happen this week, and we broadcasted the Holston game, and it didn't go quite as well as we thought it was going to as it had started.
No, we were just talking that we thought that was going to be over in 5 innings, and just like we were talking the whole game, we was waiting for Holston to make that big inning, and next thing you know, they called up to us, and we just did not respond back, and losing by 1 point, one run there in that close game, really thought we had that one, and our guys really played a great game, and hopefully they'll use that as a learning experience as we go into the tournament. I really think that we could make a good run in our tournament if we get a good seed.
And right now we're in a perfect position to get a good seed. We go to Chilhowie, as we will here in a few minutes when we read off the rest of the schedule. But I really do think with what they did against Holston, how could they not beat the teams that are left on this schedule?
Yeah, I think take Chilhowie away, who is the best team and one of the best teams in the state of Virginia.
You got George Withrow retreating Northwood.
Yeah, we've got teams that we can compete against, and we have the capability, if we come to play, just like we talked about. If we come, no errors, hit the ball like we've been hitting.
They were hitting good the other night.
Yeah, we're a solid baseball team if we come do things right. But when we don't have that focus, we don't come out, we just have those lapses where we let things get to us, then, that can mean trouble for us down the road.
And it's like even after the big inning, they were still up by 1 run. And It seemed like they'd lost that game. The way they came back out, they went 1, 2, 3 in the next inning up at the plate. And that pretty much marked the end of that game, you felt like, as you were sitting there watching it.
Yeah, and, to win games like we were saying that, kids have to make plays. Devin Keith, for example, for Holston, he was one of the guys that made plays for him down at the end, so that they were able to tie the ball game, as he was on first base and they hit a shot over toward Kevin Thomas and it got past him, and he's he takes the wheels, goes from first to home before we can get him out. I mean, that's a play. That's a guy that's not willing to stop and using his athleticism. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's also the guy that provided the hit for them to go up 9-8.
He was pretty much the main cause of their comeback. And he did a lot of things for them. And you saw certain big plays. Errors really killed the Rebels. Right there, 4 errors in 1 inning, and Holston really didn't start off well, but they didn't do it by errors. They just gave up base hits. And I think a thing the Rebels can look at and take away from this game is Craig Isaac played a great game, and Shane Cole had a good showing on the mound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had guys that stepped up. I think that you look at Merrick
Caleb Sire got the big RBI there. Kevin Thomas, the number 9 hitter who really could be anywhere in that lineup, got the base hit right there with a runner on second, which is hard to do with 2 outs. And have a young player come in like that and get a base hit. Some more for the weekly wrap-up after the Holston lost. PH Varsity Baseball lost 12-2 yesterday, May 2nd, at Fort Chiswell. That was a Fort Chiswell team they beat the time before that, and I understand that Fort Chiswell hit 2 home runs. Coleman Thomas hit a home run. So
going to University of Tennessee. I know that Ryan's excited about Coleman joining the ranks of the Volunteers. So, but Fort Chiswell was a good baseball team. I think we played well the time we beat them, and we went back up there and. Again, it goes back to that same thing that we're just not able to put innings together defensively. We have to play hard the whole time, no errors, and
nobody really hit, from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's one of those games that we can't have as we get toward the district tournament.
And as far as for Patrick Henry, they might not have put in all of their effort in that game as well. I mean, as far as a coaching standpoint, you may not pitch your best pitchers against a non-district opponent this late in the year, and that could just be. It's probably something that just happened due to the weather that we've had to push this game back so far.
Well, I thought we talked about it the other day at the Holston game, is that this rule with the pitching, it hurts us. Yeah. We don't have, to be honest with you, we're going to, once it gets toward the end. Now, here's an interesting thing, Dylan. Let's sit and think. Chilhowie and Holston, who is the marquee matchup in the Hokie District, have not played each other yet. They haven't played each other. We've got 1 week of baseball left before the district tournament, and the top 2 teams have avoided each other, and haven't even stepped on the field of battle yet. And so how's that going to play when they're going to have to play each other twice in 1 week?
And you've got to pitch your best, yeah.
And I'll tell you who
really
that favors. I'll go ahead and tell you. That favors Chilhowie because they've got more pitchers than Holston does. And I think that Holston will have to play very well to beat Chilhowie anyway.
Split with Chilhowie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you have, where you could put some rest in on your guys, come in, pitch the best guys against Chilhowie, I think that might be a good, because Holston will hit. They'll get some hits against Chilhowie. So I just think that's interesting how that game got pushed back so far. While we haven't had that, I think you got to play that somewhere a little early, just especially for the pitching.
That's really going to possibly hurt those two teams as we get into the tournament.
Yeah, and I think Chilhowie will have enough horses on the mound to pull that out, and that's their strength. But for Holstons and the rest of us, really, I think you look at Holston, you're looking at Thacker, you're looking at TJ
Widener.
Yeah, I think they've got a few guys that they can put on the mound. We have just a very few guys that we can put on the mound. Chilhowie can put, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I think 5 guys that they can put up there to be, to battle against Hogan teams.
Too.
Yeah.
And I really think that rule hurts a lot of teams. I mean, we're not just talking about in the Hogan. I'm sure there's a lot of teams in the state of Virginia that are sitting around in the same sort of predicament. But you look back, I know I talked about this during the last game. I don't think I got to finish my point on that. Whenever we had Josh Short in 2009, Coach Boyd pitched him every game, pretty much. And they won the Hogan tournament that year, and he pitched every game of the tournament. And he was a good pitcher, Josh was, but if you've got to use the same guy, you're not going to be able to nowadays.
No, you can't use him.
And I don't think that's fair to teams. I mean, I think they're pretty much you're talking about the arm damage to the arm. I think by now they've already grown into it, and I don't think that should really be a factor. I don't know what event brought this on. Was there like a study or?
I don't know. In the Virginia High School
the bats were a kid got hit in the face, and that was all it took.
Oh well, yeah.
I think it should take more than.
Yeah, and I don't know if there was some kind of big study done by the Virginia High School League but these rules are passed down that when they pass them down, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think there's a new rule going to be in effect next year, and I'm only going to say it because I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to put that on air. Okay. So just in case I'm wrong, let me double check and check back in with us next one, and I will tell you what this new rule is.
Leave
and
let me
just make sure of my facts before we put it on here. So
I
don't want Terrell calling me and saying that's wrong, Coach Kaywood. That's wrong. So by the way, hi Terrell, if you're listening, there's your little shout out. My favorite guy there.
Yeah. How much talk do you think goes into a new rule being put in place, especially?
There's a lot of talk.
I mean they don't how many years do you think it takes to get it processed out like that?
Well, it just depends. Like this rule, I'm sure that it was talked about for a little bit. Let me just give you something that I know about. They've talked about ever since I've been here at Patrick Henry High School, which is going on 15 years, they've heard whispering of putting a shot clock in high school basketball, making a 35-second shot clock, which I think should go in. If I had a vote, I would vote a 35-second shot clock.
It's something you're going to have to do on down the line.
The college does it, NBA does it. It does change the game, and it benefits the defense. I don't think people realize that if you put a shot clock, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can actually do some things defensively, even if you're not a very good team, to try to slow another team down because they only have that amount of time.
And then it doesn't.
And here somebody will say, "Well, look at Whiffle." Well, Whiffle's going to beat you without a shot clock or with a shot clock. They're going to run up and down. It's just something that's added to it that if you can slow them down, force the late shots. I think that's a benefit to you. But I just think that that's something that you could put in and really to help boys
keep
basketball
the game going. As far as
so these rules are talked about for a long time. There's certain people in the state that may want them, certain people that don't. It has to go through the Virginia High School League. They have to vote on it. Principals get involved with that, of course, and stuff. So it's a big process, and of course they don't want to pass a rule that is unfair. So there's a lot of research and things that go into it. They'll talk to a lot of people. They'll look at other states and see what they do, if they have it, if it works, it doesn't. So there's a big process to go through to actually add a rule for us.
And I know college football added the rule, not college football, college baseball added the rule this year. They've got a clock on the pitch clock.
Mm-hmm.
That they have 25 seconds to throw without runners on base, of course, and that really speeds the game up. That's what the whole mindset of that was. But whenever you were talking about basketball, the shot clock, you can tell it might be a disadvantage to some of these little teams that run slow pace because they could just hold the ball for the whole first half.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, that's something that I know has been done here in the Hoga-Hee, too.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that people will say is, well, I can slow it down, and I've got a good enough guard that I can hold the ball away from it. But I did that.
Oh,
I did that. I'll be the first one to admit.
You might as well. That's something that you can do. I mean,
yeah, I've implemented because the way the rules are, it allowed me with Mickey Rissian. I had a good guard against teams that weren't very good. Or against teams that were better than us, what I did is I just held the ball out, made them play me man-to-man, spread the floor, and was able to keep – I mean, we played retreat, and we dribbled the ball for 4 minutes, and nobody even come out and got him. And, that game all the way going into halftime was in the teens. And I'll just be the first to tell you, even though I took advantage of that rule, I just think as a basketball player, as a basketball coach, that's not fun. That's not the way I had to get involved way too much into that game. If you got the 35-second clock on me, the most I could hold is 35 seconds. Then I'd have to say, let's do this, and we're going to get a shot here. That gets that game up and down. That's a true basketball game, and basketball is supposed to be played up and down. It shouldn't be on one side of the floor, me dribbling like Dean Smith did in the four corners, which, you do whatever it takes to give your team a chance to win.
I mean, as long as that rule's here, you can bet some teams will be taking advantage of that, especially here.
Yeah. As coaches, that's what you do. You give your team the best chance to win.
I mean, you
like you were talking about,
only down 2. I mean,
like you were talking about, since we played Fort Chiswell yesterday, we pitched some of our best pitchers against Holston to try to get that win, and I would dare say that we did not throw the top of our lineup, or we couldn't throw the top of our lineup against Fort Chiswell, which is probably a result of the 12-2 game that we faced with them.
And plus the fact that the Holston game stayed so close, whenever we could have really taken advantage. I know it's crazy to say we lost that game 9-8.
Yeah.
We were there 8-1 at one point. We were there 7-0 at one point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, before the 4th inning, we were talking about getting out of there in the 5th inning. It was going so good for Patrick Henry, and then one big inning happened.
We heard that song, Shot on, we was getting ready to pack up and head out, but that's why baseball's a funny game like that. That inning can change everything.
And that's why you can't just quit either.
Yep.
And PH varsity and JV, both those teams lost to Holston the same day the boys varsity did. The JV falls back to 8-1. But softball teams both recorded wins over Marion on Wednesday, so they're back on the winning side of things. And the PH varsity girls game went into extra innings, so it was a pretty exciting game.
Yeah, and our girls softball team is, even though they've had some big losses as far as losing some major players over the past few years, have been very competitive. I think that Coach Crabtree has done an excellent job, and I think that he's got that program going in the right direction right now. Yeah. And he's got something to look forward to because our JV team has been doing very well as well, even though they got beat.
Yeah, and Holston is 9-1 and 9-2.
9-2. So Northwood beat them.
I think so.
Yeah,
but
the way I understand it, Northwood, Holston, and PH all really have good JV programs right now, and we only beat, if I'm right. Our JV team only beat Northwood's JV team by 1 run, 4-3.
I think something like that. And whenever we beat Holston the first time, it was 3-1.
Right. So we got, that's a really interesting
next few years.
Yeah,
coming up,
I mean,
especially in softball.
That's 3 of the best programs that we've had in the Hoga-Hee.
And girls sports especially, they've always been. But as far as our JV girls team, they're led by 2 8th graders. So.
Mm-hmm.
Pitcher and catcher. Lacey Robinson is a catcher, and Madison Booth's a pitcher, and they're going to be fun to watch here within the next few years. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they play varsity next year.
That's
crazy
probably,
that is.
I would dare say that all of your good JV softball players will probably be on varsity next year, and it's interesting if you looked at softball, you could have one really outstanding pitcher. And we have, if you look at Patrick Henry softball, through the 15 years I've been here, we've had good softball teams the whole time. It's been one of our better sports, and one of the major reasons behind it is we've had a dominating pitcher on the mound almost every year. We go back all the way to Nicole Poore, who just was a dominant pitcher here, was a dominant pitcher at UVA Wise. She was, her sister Dewana Poore come after, Rustin Rainey after her. We've had pitcher after pitcher after pitcher that's been able to keep, people off the bases.
That Nicole Poore team was the team that went to the state championship game and finished as a state runner-up. So that was
and we were very close to win the state championship that year. And I think if you look at softball versus baseball, you just got to have one pitcher. Yeah. She can pitch every game, all the time, and if you've got that one, like Morgan Lowe. Morgan Lowe was a good example of why Holston's had the success they've had.
Kelsey Weddle, too, for PH whenever we've been good.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you've got that dominating pitcher, you're going to win softball games.
And softball's not a really offensive-oriented. Baseball can be offensive sometimes. Softball, these games are traditionally 2-1, two good teams.
Two good teams. It's going to be low scoring, and
where I think it's the field's smaller. It's like Little League, but you got full-size people playing there,
Yeah, the field's shorter for the girls, and that mound. I'll tell you, you talk about new rules and stuff. I know that some people say that pitchers are getting so good now at softball in high school, they need to move that mound back just a little bit, and that would increase the size of that field. Of course, I don't know if that's going to be possible or anything, but you got girls that's really throwing equivalent of 90 miles an hour. On that with short field stuff. But it's just interesting to me that, with softball, you got that one dominant pitcher. All you got to do is have one base runner, and put the ball in play and keep running the bases to get that one run, and you're going to win the game. And in baseball, you're right. You got to really have the bats going because it's not going to be.
Baseball's more of a lineup. You got to have a good solid, and you got to have the pitching. And there's not very many teams in this area of Virginia that have that many teams other than Chilhowie, and look what they've done.
Yeah, and pitching is the key.
Let's go ahead and start with the week wrap up.
Okay.
Go ahead and look forward to next week, Monday, May 6th. We will be playing Chilhowie boys varsity and girls varsity at Chilhowie starting at 5 o'clock. JV boys and girls will be playing both double headers here at Patrick Henry, so should be some good games, and a big game on our slate that we hope all of you all will come out to is soccer is having their only home game of the season against George Wythe at 6 o'clock on Monday. So make sure you come out and support them. They've put in a lot of work this year to do what they've done up to this point, and they've won 3 soccer matches in a row. So that's not too shabby.
No, it's not too. And me and Dylan Hutton will be there. We'll be signing autographs, so y'all make sure to come out and just bring you a little piece of paper. I'll bring a Sharpie, so we'll get you took care of there. So
I think it should be a good game, though. George Wythe's a good soccer team traditionally, and our soccer team could go a little upset city here.
Yeah, here's the thing about it is the kids we have in our soccer program have worked very hard.
It shows how dedicated they are because they're having to get the equipment. Like right now, as we're talking, they're up there painting the football field by themselves.
They've really took it on by themselves to get that soccer program back
because nobody really was going to support.
And I'll just mention like Jake Caldell is one of those guys.
Cody
Bartley, but Jake will be here again next year, and hopefully
really
he'll that's his goal is to have enough kids, and that's really what it takes is enough kids. So really come on out, guys. If you're listening to this, and even if it's just 2 or 3, it's free. It's a club soccer. It's not by the school. So just come on out, support these kids, and that would mean the world to them. And I think that they'll have a very good chance and be competitive against that Wytheville team. So
and hopefully within the next 2 years, maybe get an actual team to where they're actually able to compete for some championships and stuff.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Dylan, do you understand the rules of soccer well?
No.
Okay.
They've begged us to broadcast it, but
not that I know the rules a lot, but I've got the philosophy. Being an athletic director, I had to deal with it a lot, so I had to watch several soccer games, and so I don't like watching something not knowing what's going on. So I really looked at it and stuff. Soccer is of course, it's one of the oldest games in the world, and that's why everybody else plays soccer while we play football. And it really is an interesting game if you just take time to go through it. It's very similar to our own football and our own basketball with the way you play defense, the way you run. It's very interesting. So.
Yeah, you'll have to get some tips from you. They might put us on the PA.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
You might be able to hear us up there if he comes. So I don't know how big of a treat that is.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow.
So we got through Monday. There are no games on Tuesday the 7th, no games on Wednesday the 8th, but we get back here on Thursday, May 9th, and all of PH's baseball and softball teams will be playing George Wythe. JV softball and JV baseball will be going to George Wythe, and those games will be played at 5 p.m. at George Wythe on May 9th. And also varsity will be playing here at home versus George Wythe at 6 o'clock, and we will be broadcasting the boys varsity game at 6 o'clock on Thursday. So what are some things the PH last time that's a pretty crazy game. We had the 16-13 loss to George Wythe, 10 errors. We had 10 errors out of 15 combined. It was a really sloppy game. We scored, I think, 7 runs in 1 inning to come back and get up there in the lead. So
got beat by a squeeze play at the end of the game. So
I mean, we might have a good game there. Maybe not a fundamentally sound game, but that might be a high-scoring affair.
Well, I really hope that our guys come out and our baseball team realizes that they can win this game, and it's a homestanding game. We got to win that baseball game. We need to get out of the cellar. We need to make sure that we get a good seed in the district, and we can win that baseball game if we come out and play like we did the first 4 innings against Holston,
and not let the breakdown. Breakdown's going to happen, but not let it happen at such a large scale.
Yeah, just like we talked about, make the simple plays. Make the simple plays. Don't be superhero guy and throwing the ball all over the place. Just you do what you're supposed to do, and I think that we can walk away with that. I think that could be one of those games that we could 5 in them. We could be done early.
Oh yeah, if we
come out and play the way we're capable of.
And we'll go on to Friday, May 10th. We've got a softball doubleheader at Rye Cove, so make sure we won't be broadcasting it.
We're not going to Rye Cove. I've been to Rye Cove and not going to Rye Cove.
That's Friday, May 10th, softball at Rye Cove, so go out and support them if you're in the area. I don't know if anybody will be in that area. Saturday, May 11th is a big day for track. It's the Hogahegie District Tournament, district track meets, so make sure you come out. Boys and girls varsity will be competing, of course, as it's the end of the season finale. Make sure you come out and support.
Yeah, and we've got some outstanding track athletes here at Patrick. Casey Euchers went ahead and she's continued her stellar career here at Patrick. She's doing well in several events for the girls track team, and our boys are very young, but I think that give them a few more years. I think that we'll be right back up there competing for a district title. And Coach Blankenship has done what a great job he's done with the track program, and to take that over from Tim Johnson, who took it over from Becky Self, and to run the Judy Thomas, to run our district. We run the district track meet.
There's a lot of work, because I know that we're one of the few teams in the area that host a lot of track meets. We've hosted I think near 4 or more than 5.
Oh yeah, we host one about every week here, because we're it's one of the sports that we're very successful here at Patrick Henry is track. It's been that way
Coach
even when
Blankenship puts a ton of time in on it.
Yeah, and it's
a time-consuming job too.
That's a tough job. I would not. I've always said that the PH track coach needs to have a big supplement. People don't realize all the effort and work that goes into that job.
And you're there from morning till late in the evening on the days of the meets.
Yeah, I mean, and if you looked at Judy Thomas, that is, I don't know, people realize what it takes.
It's impressive, the amount of teams and people that come together.
Yeah, and the work it takes to get that thing ready, not to run it. I'm talking about just all the work it takes to get that thing ready to go the day before.
T-shirts, medals, and not even counting the setup of the track. And everything.
It's a big event, and we do it. The best of anybody in our area, and so that just if you want to see a good track meet run, you come on out to Patrick Henry High School on May 11th and watch that district track meet, because it'll start. It'll be an exciting time. So I think it'll probably start around 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. So make sure you come check that out. Remember, our next broadcast will be Thursday, May 9th at 6 o'clock for the boys varsity game against George Wythe. That's one of our It's one of our main games. We've only got 2 more broadcasts after that, and then we get our full-time coverage of the Hoga-Higgy tournament. Next week, make sure you tune back in because we'll actually have a schedule hopefully by then, or just like a layout of the way our broadcast schedule will go for the Hoga-Higgy tournament. Right now we haven't been able to get any information regarding that. We'll figure that out as we get closer to the tournament next week.
Right.
And make sure you check back in here after 5 o'clock on next Friday for the next week's schedule as we near the tournament, like I said. So make sure you try that. You got a last word you want to say as far as for the week ahead?
Well, I think it's going to be an exciting week, and if we're finally getting good weather. So come on out and support the Rebels as we start getting ready, and we'll host the Hoga-Higgy District baseball and softball and district tournaments.
Yeah, and I mean,
so we're here. If you want to, the last of the Hoga-Higgy Sports of the Year, if you want to see it, come on down to Patrick Henry.
But don't forget, we'll be broadcasting every one of those.
That's right. We're going to be broadcasting them. So, but if you that pretty weather, come on out and enjoy the time. And if you can't come out, tune us in. Put us on the radio.
Yeah.
We'll
like I said, next time we'll be on the air Thursday, May 9th. So we'll be hitting it hard against George Wythe. We'll see what happens then. From Dylan Hutton and John Kaywood here at PHTV Sports, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to this weekly schedule update. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.